Hello! Announcement of FiiO's new DAP and model M6 was one of the brightest events at the end of last year. There were no previews available, no any information before. They just announced that it's available and it started shipping to the sales agents worldwide. I got this player a few days before the new year and I've spent the holidays with it, testing it and enjoying it actually. And now I'm ready to tell about it and to showcase it to you. Price of this player is about $150. Sometimes it's sold a bit for a bit more because of taxes, duties and so on. But anyway, it's about $150 and it makes this offer really competitive because it's a really feature-packed small player. Box is traditionally minimalistic, not much information printed on it, just Bluetooth codecs mentioned here and the Exynos chipset inside. As digital to analog converter, here used ES9018, if I remember right, Q2C. It works as a digital to analog converter and as a headphone amplifier actually. And player's output power is more than 70 milliwatts for 32 ohms load, pretty good figures. And battery lifetime is from 11 to 12 hours when with wired connection. With wireless connection you can get even more, but it depends on codec. Inside you will have player itself with nice silicone case. I will show it to you a bit later. Also you will have a manual, warranty card, screen protector, I already applied it, and regular USB Type-C cable. So as you can see, accessory set is pretty basic, but it's I think it's more than okay for this price range. Moreover, you will have this silicone case and I like it, and nice leather cases are already available on the AliExpress. Probably the most impressive thing in this player's exterior it's its size. Just look how small it is. Let's do some size comparisons. Here is FiiO's first M3. It's the smallest FiiO player, but probably this new M6 is the second small DAP made by FiiO. Here is its closest rival, Hibi R3. It's a bit wider but shorter, so it's closer to rectangular shape. And also M6 is slimmer. Even without this case, let me remove this plastic thing. Actually, it's a bit thinner and has different proportions. And here is model that is probably killed by M6, it's M7. M7 is bigger, but anyway, M6 is small, but it's really nicely built. Let me remove this case. Here it is in case. So now let's remove this silicone protector. Here is player itself. It's built of aluminium, really nice rounded shape, really good quality, no ripping sounds, everything is built really great. No rattling, no noises, everything is built solidly. Back panel is covered with protector from factory, and on the front panel I have to apply protector myself, and probably it's one of the few cases when I succeed in doing that. There are a few control buttons. Here is play pause button and also volume control. When you long press of these buttons also allows you to switch the tracks. On the top there is headphones output, so no balanced output, no line out. You can just use this headphones output as a line out. On off button it's also used as a screen lock, and micro SD slot. Player supports all existing microSD cards, if I remember right, and there are 2 GB of built-in memory, but of course it's not a big amount of memory, but anyway. And on the bottom there is USB-C. It can be used for charging, to use it as a USB digital to analog converter. It can be used to output signal to the external digital to analog converter, and so on. So it's a pretty universal device, and it supports some really sophisticated usage scenarios, like converting signal from USB that came from your PC, for example, via USB to the Bluetooth. So it can be used as Bluetooth receiver, as Bluetooth transmitter. There are a lot of different interesting options. When you turn it on, here is main screen. Let me open something to show the screen proportions. So here it is. There are slight bevels on the edges of the screen, but they are really small and I like it. Screen has resolution 800 by 480. It has normal viewing angles, and it has enough brightness to remain visible even under the bright sun. Maybe it's not something superb compared with modern smartphones, but it's a pretty nice screen for the digital audio player. So as you can see, in terms of build quality, in terms of design, in terms of usability, it's a really nice, stylish device that has this impressive wow factor. This player has the same firmware with FiiO M6. They probably will synchronize it as they've done with their previous X series dubs, so all their feature set will be pretty consistent. When you boot up, you can see the similar menu: FiiO Music, File Management, Gallery, Technical Support, Settings, and installed third-party apps. I will speak about the apps a bit later. So let's first of all, I will show not so useful application. So simple built-in file manager. It's pretty basic, but it allows you to browse your music, to delete something that you don't want. Gallery, it's full of album covers, and it's pretty much everything. It's pretty much everything that you will see in it. Technical support is now it's more useful because there is firmware update. You can update it online and via local file. There is no currently updates available, but when they will appear, you can install it. And settings. It's of course it's more useful menu. Wi-Fi, it's familiar. Bluetooth, here you can turn Bluetooth on, available devices, and you can connect them. So let's go back. Audio, selected output, here is headphones output, all line out, because there is only one socket. Digital filter mode, just 3 filters available, but as usual there is not much audible difference. Wireless playback quality, also pretty traditional. And channel balance, maximum volume settings, fixed volume setting, should inline remote work, USB digital to analog converter mode when it's connected to the your computer, and AirPlay. Really nice feature, but it's turned on in a bit unusual way. If you have iPhone, iPad, or other Apple device, you can turn this AirPlay mode, and when this player is in the same Wi-Fi network with your iPhone or iPad or other device, you can stream music via Wi-Fi using AirPlay. It will give you better quality than Bluetooth. And when you got iPhone, you can enable hotspot on your iPhone and use this streaming, AirPlay streaming if you'd like. Keylog settings, it's what buttons should be available when screen is locked. Factory data reset, it's predictable, and general, it's Android settings. About device, power off timers, apps, here you can uninstall applications that you don't need. Brightness level, wallpaper, daytime, languages input, and screen lock. So it's pretty familiar. Also, actually, here works two really useful gestures. Swipe from the left side will bring you. Actually, let me check anything. One thing. So swipe at the left side will move you back. Swipe from the right side will move you to the main screen. Of course, center of this firmware is FiiO Music built-in player. We've seen it before many times, but it's familiar. But anyway, so this button is to exit to the menu. When you turn it on, here is your media library, all songs, artists, albums, folder browser, all songs in one list, and so on. So playlists and genres, recently played, most played, and recently added files. And also there are different settings here. From settings you can get to now playing screen, but let's move back. Here is settings. So off timer for this application, scan for songs if you need to update your media library, resume. Let me turn it on. You can select resume from track or from the position. Gapless playback, play through folders, replay gain, auto updating media library. Actually, let me turn on replay gain per album. USB output mode DSD over PCM or DSD to PCM you can select. And here is another Bluetooth codec, it's HWA. And as you can see, it's pretty confusing that one of the codecs should be turned on here, but it's done in this way. Wi-Fi song transfer, I think it could actually be placed somewhere in settings or in separate menu. DLNA, you can select one of two themes, lock screen album art, enter now playing after playback lock screen lyrics. FiiO Link, new really convenient feature. It reminds Hibi Link when you can control your player via FiiO Music application on your Android smartphone. Probably FiiO will also release this feature for the iOS, but it's not available for iOS yet. And actually now playing screen, also pretty familiar. Track information, cover, when you tap it there are buttons, equalizer, play order, add to favorites, add to playlists, and additional menu to delete track or to see track info. Also there is pretty convenient search, but let's move back. Also I forget to mention that there is small LED indicator here. It's not bright, so it won't be inconvenient for you. And another feature to show you, here is a lock screen with lyrics if it's available and with track info. I usually turn this thing off. And you can install applications. Here player came with few pre-installed applications, Tidal and some other unknown for me streaming services. I removed them, but I've installed Deezer, Bandcamp and ES File Explorer. You can install only few applications that are whitelisted by FiiO. I think it's pretty wise turn, because only applications that is checked for compatibility with this player can be installed, so there won't be lags, there won't be big issues with applications, because there are tons of applications in the Google Play, and if FiiO would allow to install anything, many users will end up with bloated player dying from bloatware. Anyway, almost all popular streaming services are available here. Of course, there is no Apple Music because it's hard to, and there is no Google Music because it's hard to install them without Google services, and Google services are not available for this player. But Tidal, Deezer, and other services are here, and I think it's a pretty good thing to have. Here is really full-featured Tidal with all the new albums, with all interesting playlist. Of course, it's not super fast. Actually, I'm not sure is it because mobile processor used here or because of slow Wi-Fi. I think both are contributing here, but anyway, it's pretty usable. You can listen to your favorite music. Offline mode is working. Everything is working as with regular Tidal or with regular Deezer or with any other streaming media on your computer. I think it's a pretty good addition to the traditional DAB functionality, and I'm really trying to use streaming media as much as possible. Also, I really like Bandcamp because it's a great source of interesting music for me, so I'm glad that they whitelisted Bandcamp too. But the most interesting thing, of course, is the sound. Let's pretend I've just listened to it. I will put some in-ear monitors on the table. Now it will be FLC8N, really good hybrid model for those who like sound tuning. But of course I've done all critical listening before, and actually it's a really nice player, really good sounding for its price. Its signature is pretty close to M7, but with a bit improvement. First of all, because of a bit more power put into the representation, so it's just pretty natural, pretty balanced signature with slightly accented lows and trebles, but they are accented not by quantity but with a slight accent. So frequency response is absolutely flat and natural as usual, but there is additional energy put at the end of the regions. So resolution is normal, bass has normal depth, not super but normal. It has a bit of additional weight that really complements vast majority of melodies, and it's normal in terms of texturing, in terms of representation, good layering, pretty normal balanced low frequencies without super big accents or without being too lightweight. It's just normal, just balanced and pretty good. So it's doing its job really well. As an example, here is Peter Gabriel's track called Darkness. If you heard this track, it has interesting, powerful intro with pretty lot of low notes, and this player plays it with enough of weight. Mids are also probably normal, good. It's not, it's not something super resolving, it's not something super fluid. It's just a normal mids, normal player without any issues, without any problems, without any accents. It's somewhere in between of super resolving or super smooth, somewhere in between of super emotional and super natural. It's just good player for enjoying your music without any coloration, without attempts to be super musical or super warm or tubey sound, and without attempts to be audiophilic, analytical, and so on. So Imaginary Stage is about average both in width and in depth, with really good layering in depth and with normal instrument separation in width. As an example of mid frequencies, I've got this track. It's John Coltrane's Locomotion, really intensive track with a lot of notes per second played by Coltrane. So it requires good resolution, and this player probably it's not the best player to listen to the serious jazz recordings, but it does its jobs pretty nicely. it plays this tune really in really enjoyable way. And treble here is also slightly accented, but you know, it's not accented by like in headphones with some peaks or with some spikes, without being harsh, without being too fatiguing. It's just a bit more energy put into the treble region, and it like highlighting everything a little bit. It's like I usually use this metaphor. It's like a clarity filter in the Lightroom or in the Photoshop. It just adds a bit of clarity to your tunes, and it sounds really nicely, really airy, and also pretty effective. So, as an example, here is Annihilator and instrumental track named Mending. This track has nothing with typical Annihilator style, or maybe I can say it vice versa. It's typical Annihilator, but it's not thrash metal. It's not there is no distorted guitars, no screams, nothing that you can expect from the thrash metal band. It's just really great atmospheric instrumental track, and with a lot of overtones, with a lot of notes that goes really to high to treble domain, and this player plays them in enjoyable way. So you know, I can call this player probably balanced. It doesn't have any significant coloration, so it just plays everything as is, but it's not going into being supernatural or super analytical. In terms of driving power, it gives more than 70 milliwatts for 32 ohm slot, and it will be enough for the vast majority of in-ear monitors, for the vast majority of headphones, and so it will drive almost everything you can connect. Of course, with exceptions of like hard to drive, power-hungry planars or some high impedance headphones. And from other hand, it's almost silent when you use it with sensitive in-ear monitors, and I really like it. You know, I'm probably a fan of players that are not super powerful, because I usually listen players with in-ear monitors, and the extra power isn't necessary here. So I really like sound of this player, and nothing, you know, it's not a giant killer, nothing super spectacular, but it's really solid, really good, really effective sound in its price range, and even in a bit more expensive range too. Speaking about comparisons, you know, I will be really brief here, because I'm thinking about creating few separate videos where I will compare it with current FiiO's lineup and probably with some other dubs, so let's do it really briefly. This player is definitely better than FiiO's M3K. It costs too much, 2 times more, but it's pretty expectable. It's better sonically, it's more natural, more solid, and so on. Also, I can say that it's a bit better than M7, and actually, let's say that probably this M6 will kill M7. Of course, M7 has its really spectacular 20 hours of work, but no Wi-Fi, no streaming media, just let's say it, offline player. I like FM radio that it has, but I think more people will prefer M6. So I'm holding it upside down. Its closest rival, it's Hibi's R3, and you know, there is no clear winner here, definitely. Some people will say that R3 is better. Subjectively, probably I'd say that M6 is a bit better, but I can say that they are on the same level. They are, both of them have a pretty similar presentation, just R3 being a bit more weighty, especially on the low frequencies and on the lower mids, and a bit more polite on treble. In terms of usability, they are pretty identical, with one exception. There are separate buttons for playback control and separate buttons for volume control, and besides that, I think it's almost everything is pretty close. Let me actually turn it on for a while. Similar screens, everything is similar. It has balanced output, but not much sense in it, because it just gives you a bit more driving power, while this one has more power from single-ended output. So I think it's a matter of subjective preferences. If you need streaming media, of course M6 will be a better option. If you don't need them, and if you want more weighty sound, you can prefer R3. And also, of course, it's worth mentioning FiiO's M9, but M9 is definitely better. It's more mature dub with more mature sound from all perspectives. So that was FiiO's M6, probably the hottest debut of this winter. Small, good dub with good sound, with streaming media support, and I think it will be really successful. Thank you for attention.